It's your boy Icon with a Marvel animated TV review for you, going over that X-Men and what is this, episode 4, Motendo and Life-Death Part 1. This was filler. This was filler. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm a little disappointed that we're getting a filler episode, so soon. This is episode 4. We're getting a filler episode. And then also, how do you have filler episodes with a 10-season arc? Like, it made sense with the Arrowverse because a lot of the Arrowverse TV shows, they were getting 18 to 23 episodes a season. So 1 or 2 filler episodes made sense. But how are we getting filler episodes in a 10-episode arc? Anyway, so it's actually 2 stories in one. And then that's another thing. If Storm was going to be on the damn show, why did we remove her from the intro? Like, we could have just kept her in the intro. It's like you take her out the intro and she's still on the show. And then not even just that, but Charles Xavier himself. They've added new footage of Charles Xavier in the intro. So why is Charles being taken out when we all know Charles is coming back at the end of the season? That's basically it. So anyway, this is going to be a quick review because nothing of real significance happened, honestly. It's Jubilee's birthday. So happy birthday to Jubilee, my favorite character. She just turned 18. And the fact that she's 18, it tells us why she hasn't been, allowed to go on missions up until this point, because obviously they viewed her as a child. She wanted to do some stuff for her birthday, and then the whole Magneto was like, no, he was like, we can't allow it. And then he was just like, oh, what would you want? Then that's when Wolverine was like, well, what do you want to do for your birthday, kid? And then she said she wanted to go to the arcade, and then Magneto was like, no, because the master of magnetism will not be seen in childish fantasy world. So he basically shut it down and said no. Gambit tried to holler at Rogue. Magneto beat him to the punch. This is going to be a thing at some point too. I don't see where this is going. It's not like him and Rogue were a couple, so it's like I don't know. Anyway, so Jubilee's pissed. Roberto's in her bedroom for whatever reason, and then while her and Roberto are talking, she has a Motendo system on her dresser. She's talking about how she's upset because Magneto wouldn't let her go to the arcade, and then all of a sudden the Motendo comes out of nowhere, and it sucks both her and Roberto into the system. So now she's in the video game, digital virtual world. And good old Mojo is back. Like Mojo, the big green alien that trapped the X-Men in that whole virtual thing back then in the 90s. He's back. He's a lot skinnier because he said that the shows haven't been doing well since the X-Men left, and he needs some new entertainment. So he created a video game where basically Jubilee's the star of the game. And he's telling her, he's like, oh, why would you want to go back to your old life where, everybody's telling you what to do and this, that, and the third, and blah, 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 where you can be in Mojo land and you can be like the main character. You can be the leader of your own thing. And he put her in a situation where she basically, like, her and Roberto together, they're fighting different levels of the memories of her past. They're going to Genosha, they're fighting the Sentinels, they're going through all this other stuff. And she's having the time of her life because, as her turning 18, there is that sense of, I don't want to grow up. Like she wants to be a Toys R Us kid forever. But doing this game means that she doesn't have to come to the realization of being an adult. She doesn't have to adult yet. So she's going through the video game. While she's going through the video game, Mojo turned up the juice, and he actually tried to take out Roberto because Roberto kept trying to get them out of there, and he was just like, okay, homeboy, got to go. But then while they were also going through the game, she was fighting Magneto, she was battling the Sentinels and everything. She was getting help in the game from an unknown source. And Mojo's assistant, the chick with the multiple arms, she was there, and then she was just like, oh, there's something that's trying to hack our system or whatever. There was an entity that was inside the video game that was helping Jubilee and helping Roberto beat certain levels and get to a certain point. That character later revealed themselves as a digital version of Jubilee because before Mojo brought Jubilee into the game, he created a beta test version of the video game. So he created different versions of Jubilee in the beta test, and one of those beta tests was smart enough to download herself into the actual game, and she used that to help the actual Jubilee, navigate through the system. And then she even told her, she said, I know that you want to stay here, but she said that you got to go back because not knowing the circumstances of what's going to happen, not knowing the outcomes of things, that's what real life is all about. And you need to experience those things and have those experiences. You can't run from being an adult. And then there was a point where Roberto had died, and then she used the power up to bring him back to life. And then together, Jubilee learned a new power. She learned how to take her little sparks and turn it into like some whirling tornado thing. And they used that to defeat Mojo because Mojo tried to come at him. They defeated Mojo. Mojo got cooked. his assistant ended up, I guess Mojo's assistant ended up taking over, so we probably ain't gonna see Mojo no more. I think Mojo dead, to be honest with you. And then Jubilee and Roberto got shot out of the video game back into her bedroom, and then when she realized Roberto was okay, she kissed him, and now the two of them are a couple. Roberto also used his power, which allowed him to, like, you know, use solar energy, so maybe they'll call him Solar or whatever the case may be. So that was it for the Jubilee portion of it. Happy birthday to Jubilee. So the second portion of the episode was an Aurora-based episode, a Part 1 Aurora-based episode, where her and the Native American guy, they went back to his cabin, and he was working on a way to try to restore her mutant power. He said that the ray that took her power away, it wasn't designed to suppress her power, I guess he said, but more so just lock it away into a specific place. And he said that he can try to come up with the technology to bring the power back. The two of them fell in love at some point. I don't know if the two of them had a thing prior to this, but the two of them ended up, falling for each other or something. He told her at one point he loved her, and then she slapped him in the face. Because what happened was she eventually found out, like, he put her in a machine, and I guess that machine was supposed to unlock her abilities, and then it didn't work. He later on told her that when he was in a very bad place in his life, his mutant power, I guess, is like having images in his mind and making them come to life. He can create whatever he can think of, he's able to create it as long as he has the capable tools. So he made drawings of certain weapons and everything. The government got their hands on his designs and everything, and they built the weapons that was used to take Aurora's power away. So she was pissed because she was like, "You're the one who took my power." She's like, "You created these weapons." And he was like, "No." He said, "I made the designs, and the government stole those designs and used them against me." He said, "I'm not actually the bad guy here, and I'm trying to atone for that by restoring your mutant powers." And then that's when she slapped him, and she was like, "Be gone." And then after she tried to run away, some weird shit happened where the sky opened up, and then some demon shit happened, and then a demon grabbed her in her own voice and said, "Aurora, you're not going anywhere." And then that's how the episode ended. And thank you for tuning in. Clearly the girl's still in the machine. Basically what's happening is he built them, because he said that her mutant powers are like being locked somewhere. He built a machine that put her in a virtual world where she's seeing all this crazy monster shit. What's going to happen is the emotions of whatever she's going through in the machine is going to reactivate her. It's like a jump start where it's going to like reactivate her power. We're going to find out that Aurora is still in the machine when when part 2 of the episode comes out. And that's another thing. So if part 2 of this is going to be next week, then that means next week we're getting another set of filler episodes. The first 15 minutes is going to be about closing up this Aurora situation, and then the next 15 minutes is probably going to be based on somebody else. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I feel about the filler aspect of it, because we only get 10 episodes. So why would we waste like all this precious time on like filler stuff? We could have told more. We could have elaborated more on the story with the genes and the clones and the Cyclops. We could have elaborated more on that and still had this Jubilee and still had this Aurora thing. We didn't need an entire episode dedicated to it, but whatever gets her power back and gets her back into the fight. So share your questions, comments, and or concerns down below, and we will continue to talk about it. It is WrestleMania weekend, ladies and gentlemen, so I will be doing a review for NXT Stand and Deliver, and I'll also do a review for both nights of WrestleMania for all those wrestling fans. They said that WrestleMania is a big deal, so I definitely want to cover that and talk about that. I said we're waiting for some more stuff to come in the pipeline. I'm still waiting for that Crisis on Infinite Earth Part 2 movie coming out. And I said, and keep an eye out, because I got a lot of stuff coming up this year, a lot of good conventions. I'm going to New York Swim Week this year. We're still doing Fashion Week. We're going to try to do Anime NYC. We're still going to do Comic-Con and Brooklyn Con and anything else that way I can come up with as we progress and as we proceed forward. So like the video if you haven't already. Click the notification bell so you'll get notified when those videos pop up, and you'll get notified about all this goodness from everything from Red Eyes Entertainment. So that was it, guys. So until next week for some more X-Men 1997 action. Look out for the Motendo action coming near you. And we're out this.